Okay guys, just about to start a video about the Tucker Carlson interview with Mike Huckabee. I think he's the American ambassador to Israel, isn't he? Pause. Gotta go check. Yeah, I was right. I'm tired, guys. Shut up. Sounding like Sargon of Akkad. I'll be saying I've got an headache, next. As long as I don't start saying I'm depressed. Yes, Mike Huckabee is the American ambassador to that place in the Middle East that I have to keep talking about. Okay, we're back. But the reason I was laughing was there's a commenter called Paulgee, and he left a comment saying that I should look at this interview. And if I'm asked to do something, I try to do it. Yeah. So finally, I'm getting round to doing it. I was going to do a video about the massive protest outside the Iranian embassy. I had some footage from there. Found it really depressing. Hundreds and hundreds of Iranian flags. And in amongst them were numerous Union Jacks and Israeli flags. I'm pretty sure I even seen a Ukrainian flag. There was a lot of screaming and chanting and gibberish to me in some language. And I remember thinking, oh God, I could record this, put it out to you. And I thought, boy, in fact, I did make a video, but it's on the cutting room floor because I went off on a rant because I said that everyone waving foreign flags in our country should be deported, and if they were British citizens, they should be jailed at least if we couldn't deport them. We should have no foreign flags flying on our streets. That applies to Iranian flags, Palestinian flags, and Israeli flags, and, well, I don't know, anybody flying foreign flags from any country should not be allowed. Yeah. At the end of the day, Iran is a sovereign state. They've brought our wars to the streets of our capital. Sorry, what used to be our capital city. Anyhow, I digress. I was telling you about Paulgee. Let's go and have a look at something. We'll go over and see, because as we were chatting here, my phone just beeped and I noticed that he just left a comment over on our channel. Let's go have a look, shall we? So there we are on our channel. Before we look at the comments, this will be interesting for you to see how the comments. Have a look at this latest poll that we put up. Yeah? Paul Morris Rodka, 20th of February. It's only the 21st today, guys. So the poll was, given that all the legacy political parties, including the Reform Party, have an internal Friends of Israel lobby group within them, the question is, should Rupert Lowe have their own Friends of Israel group in the new Restore Britain? And your replies. 16% said yes, we should support Israel. In other words, they'd be prepared for our sons to go and die for a foreign country in a foreign land like Iran coming up soon. And 83% of you, that would probably be the Restore Britain followers, have got a brain and said no, British politicians should concentrate on the UK. So that was 83% of you. And 1% of you said, are you crazy? You must not ask questions like this. Well, you know me, guys. If there's a rabbit hole, I'll go down it. So that was 232 votes. Yeah, so that's not bad for one day. Might leave it up a couple more days. Anyhow, let's go if we can see what Paulgee was saying. I said I was going to show how it's done. So we go to the community. And what I see, guys, I don't see all your comments unless I specifically look for them. So there's Gallinor, Oliver Cromwell. I like that one. I suspect who I knew that this is. Well, sir, I tried to do my duty, and I think you'll find that's good enough for him. Royal Flash, brilliant books. My replies there. Let's have a look at the newest though. Where is Paulgee? Oliver Cromwell, Saxon Thor, Golden Girl. Oh, perhaps he's somewhere else. I've got to go. I know where he'll be. Hold on. Oh, Paulgee. Hey, Paul, did you see Tucker Carlson? Thanks for the heads up. Out at the moment. Get on it, ass up. He acknowledges. He must think I've forgotten. It's on MSN and others. Asman Gold TV covers it as well, which is great because of the reach. I better tell him I'm doing it. Okay, that's that done. Making me lose track. Right, finally, Tucker Carlson's interview with Mike Huckabee. What did I make of it? Well, Tucker Carlson, I'm a big fan of Tucker Carlson's. He's one of the few people in America who tells the truth about Israel and other issues. Yeah, Mark Dice, Lily Gaddis. Yeah, there's a few of them who not frightened to tell the truth. The start of this interview was really good. You can see how far I am through it. You'll be joining me now shortly in it. It was really good. The bit here where he talks about the airfield and lack of protection and the possibility of being he chartered an aeroplane blown out of the sky was interesting. That was really good. From here, Tucker gets a bit silly, and I can't remember what he's advocating. And but roundabout here, Tucker comes across as, well, there's no other way to say it. He comes across as a bit of a prick. But that doesn't mean to say because he's acting like a prick means he is one. I mean, I act like one of those every single day of the week, and I can assure you I'm not. It's just the way I come across. But look, let's tune in and listen to it. But I'll be doing you a favor in a while. It would help if I put the sound on. I may or may not edit it.
I shouldn't have made it. I made it out of anger and ignorance.
So,
and I'm
Christian, I think we can agree, as somebody who follows Jesus Christ,
exactly,
has a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, believes in his death, burial, resurrection, has repented of one's sins, and have accepted him as one Savior. Would that be fair?
Amen.
Christian, define that. Zionist. A Zionist simply means a person who believes that the Jewish people have a right to have a homeland where they have security and safety. Did you believe that the Jews have a right to live in Israel? Do you believe that Jews have a right to live in Israel? That would be a Zionist. That's all a Zionist is.
I have a million questions about what all of those terms mean.
Yeah.
But conceptually, I wish Israel no harm. I don't want to see them.
Do you want them to have a place where they can live with safety and security?
So I saw this recently in an extremely telling exchange between the lieutenant governor of Texas, who I know and I've always liked, and a woman I don't know, never met, who's on the Religious Liberty Commission or something. and she said, I'm a Catholic, but I'm not a Zionist. And they have this ferocious exchange. And he kept saying, and everyone on the panel seemed to keep saying, you have to believe in Israel's right to exist, which I've never kind of questioned, just for the record, but it did raise two questions I think are really important, and I hope you'll answer them. One is, where does that right come from?
I would say it comes from, essentially, you could say it comes from the Bible. I would say that it does. But it comes also from a long iteration of historical precedents going to the Balfour Declaration of 1917. It comes from the League of Nations 1927. It comes from the United Nations 1947,
right.
The Declaration of Independence of the Israel State in May of 1948. They were immediately attacked. They won the war. They were attacked again in 1956. They won the war. They were attacked again in 1967 by 5 countries. They won the war. They were attacked again in 1973 in the Yom Kippur War. They won the war. The point is, does Israel have a right to exist? They also had wars in 1982 in Lebanon. They've had the intifadas, 2 of those. They've had
Lebanon again in 06. I was there. No, I'm very familiar with the modern history of the state.
Okay.
Pretty familiar, I think. And I've been
But
here.
a Zionist simply means somebody who believes that Israel has a right to exist. Now, the question is, do you believe Israel has a right to exist?
I guess. I mean, I want Israel to exist. Well, no, but I want to know what that means. So, like, do other countries have a right to exist?
Well, they do exist.
Do they have a right to exist? You keep saying Israel has a right to exist, and I want to know what other countries have a right.
They have a legal right, because every international body in the last 100 years has said the Jewish people have a right to their indigenous homeland.
My question
so that's a legal right.
What other?
Do they have a biblical right? I would say that yes, but you may say they don't.
I don't know. I'm actually sincerely interested in finding out what you mean by a biblical right. But first, to the legal right, does any other country on the planet have the same right that Israel has to exist?
Well, you could say, does Jordan have a right to exist? When it was Transjordan and the Brits came and divided up the Middle East, and they gave some land to Jordanians, and they gave some land to the Saudis, and they gave some land to various Middle Eastern countries, and it was all carved up. And the French gave Lebanon its right to exist. Do they have a right to exist?
Do they?
Well, why not?
Okay. So that's my. So every country.
Does the U.S. have a right to exist?
I'm asking you.
Okay, and I'm telling you, I think the U.S. has a right to exist.
Okay.
We came here. We came there. We're in Israel now talking. But does the U.S. have a right to exist? Does anyone question whether we have a right to exist?
I don't. Yeah, but I, of course, I'm for America. You know.
Good for you.
But so every current country on the map has the same right to exist that Israel has. Is that what you're saying?
I think what we're saying is that when a country has established itself and it is following international law, it has been deemed by numerous bodies that it is indigenous to its homeland, as Israel is. This is its homeland. It goes back 3,800 years to the time of Abraham. It's not that the Jewish people just showed up here in 1948 and said, we're going to have some land.
Hold on. So those are two different tracks, and I just want to make sure that we separate them so I understand each one separately.
All right.
So you're saying there's the modern legal framework, and so you said a country that abides by international law has a right to exist.
I would say that that is a part of its existence.
Would the inverse be true, that a country that does not abide by international law forfeits its right to exist?
Not necessarily, if it has the capacity to stay and make its case known. But there have been Jewish people in this land,
but that's
in this very land, for 3,800 years.
So, but you're saying as the modern nation state with borders and a military and a Knesset and just all the kind of trappings of a modern country, all of which I support, that country has, every country on the planet has the same right as Israel to exist because it does exist. Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to understand the concept here.
Well, I think what we're trying to get to is Christian Zionism, and you've taken this way off the road here.
I don't know that I have. I don't mean to. Christian Zionism is a separate thing, but I just keep hearing people say Zionism is the belief
that's the fundamental argument that's going on. Does Israel have a right to live in their indigenous, ancient, historical land, a land that has been affirmed throughout international organizations, a land that has direct ties to the Jewish people?
I just want to know if this is a universal principle. I guess that's what I'm getting at, because if it's not, then it's meaningless to me, because as a Christian, I believe in universal principle. Something is right for everyone, or it's wrong for everyone. We don't believe in special cases.
But here's the question: if the Jews didn't have this land, would the Jews have a right to any land?
I don't know. I'm not attacking the Jews. I'm asking if this applies to every people in every nation. Does every nation have the same right to its own homeland, to its own physical land, that you say Israel does?
I feel like we're in a rabbit hole here.
No, I think it's a very straightforward question.
No, but
does that right extend to other countries other than Israel?
But the most important thing that is going on in our culture right now is whether or not the people that are yelling in the streets from the river to the sea, whether that's a legitimate point of view to say that there should not be a Jewish homeland. There should not be a Jewish state.
You'll never hear me say that. I just want to know.
I know you haven't said it, but that's the argument.
It's one of the arguments going on globally. And the United States, excuse me, has a pretty narrow view, I would say, in our media culture, of what's happening around the world. There are plenty of countries having this debate. Stonehenge is a lot older than the first temple in Israel. And it was built by the same people who live there now. It's the same people. And they are being pushed off their island and outnumbered by people from other places. And so in Great Britain, in Ireland, which is also a country with a nation of people, a race, if you will, that is being displaced, replaced.
Who are they being replaced by?
Immigrants.
Okay.
From other places.
I just wanted to clarify because I was one of the...
Well, just as a demographic matter, it's just like you can look at the numbers. It's not controversial. Just look at the numbers. There'll be a minority in their country. And their people have been there longer than Jews have been in Israel. Yeah. And so they're having this debate too. That's all I'm saying. And lots of places are having this debate.
Sure.
So does that principle apply to everyone, or is it specific just to Israel?
I think it applies specifically to Israel. It applies to anyone who can prove that they have some connection to the land and connection to the history and connection to international law. But Israel, I think, does have an
bringing
extraordinary...
up international law? So if, again...
Well, no, but let me finish this,
yes.
Tucker, because here's the point. We're talking about Christian Zionism. The idea that as a Christian, I believe in both the Old and the New Testament. Why wouldn't I? I'm a person of the book. There are 80 million evangelical Christians in the United States. What makes us who we are is our adherence to the Scripture, our belief that the Bible, all of it, not part of it, but all of it, is the Word of the living God.
Yeah.
So if I believe in the Old and the New Testament, I do believe that there is a very specific call to the Jewish people that started with Abraham, and he called them out of what is now modern day Iraq, said, "Come where I send you." He came, this is the land. Genesis 12:3. He says, "I will bless those who bless you, curse those who curse you." In Genesis 17, he looks out at the world, he says, "Look, and this is where I'm giving you the land."
I think
since that time, there have been people living in this land, connected to that moment of history. So there is a historical connection that is unbroken.
You've said that, and I want to ask you what that means a little more specifically, if that's okay. But first, let me just say that you could say the same thing of Britons who've been there in their land longer.
Is anybody trying to tell the Brits they can't live there anymore?
No, what's happening is...
But they are saying that to the Jews.
Oh, okay. But I just wonder if you would extend the same sympathy or the same principle. You seem like this is, you think I'm trying to trap you. I'm not. I'm at all trying to trap you. It'd be as simple as saying native Britons have the same...
I got no problem with the native Brits having their land.
Having the right to their land.
But my point is, I don't know that there is a biblical connection for the Brits.
Okay.
But I would say,
so that's what it comes down to.
Take that off the table. And I think there's still a basis for the Jews having this little bitty strip of real estate.
I'm not even arguing with you. I'm just trying to, I'm just trying to understand what it is that you're saying, because it's not obvious to me, and maybe it's an IQ problem, but I'm having trouble understanding this.
Okay. Can't sit through much more of it. I mean, Mike Huckabee there claiming that all these Jews who've gone into Israel since 1948 were tied to the land. 80% of them are Ashkenazi Jews, the Europeans really. They've got no ties to that land whatsoever. Same as most of the Jews in America are Ashkenazi, blonde hair, blue eyes. Hell, if I hadn't had a DNA test to show my origins, I'll put that up one day. You'd be surprised at where I am. but it's not Jewish, right? Oh, I'll tell you, I got a lot of English blood in me, and Welsh, and a bit of Viking, yeah. I got that somewhere. I'll have to get it. Okay. Oh, I got to pause, think. Well, I've done something else for you, in case you don't want to plow through it. Yeah. Oh, I've done some work with Sam and I produced this. Yeah. It's a summary of it, what it's all about. So I'm just going to scroll through. Context of the interview, theological territorial debate, balance of the US-Israeli alliance, military operations, and humanitarian concerns, Iran, regional escalation. Yeah, they're trying to get us into a war, aren't they? Peripheral and notable topics. Overall, an article assessment. The exchange was less a conventional interview and more a philosophical confrontation between theological nationalism and strategic skepticism. Carlson approached the discussion from a realist America First lens, whilst Huckabee articulated a faith-home defence of Israel's role and legitimacy. The interview's lasting impact centres on the territorial comments and the broader question of how religion intersects with modern geopolitics. I don't know what you guys thought, where Huckabee said that claim to the land goes back to the Old Testament. It would have been nice if Tucker had reminded him of the New Testament, which said that Israel, in the term, actually relates to Christianity, yeah? And so Israel doesn't belong to the Jewish people, it belongs to Christianity, the religion, if you like, the belief in Christ. Pity Tucker didn't say that. Anyhow, guys, I've had enough for one day. One good bit of news. We've got Miley until tomorrow now. They said she can stay one more day. My wife was spoiling the summit rotten. She's bought her 4 new coats to go away with. I'm glad she's not going to Switzerland. She'd be trying to buy her skis as well. Okay, guys, you've been listening to Paul Morris. Are you happy now, Paulgee? And I'll see you on the next one.